A collection of the most unexplored wonders of the world, underground waterfalls, mysteries of ancient civilizations, unique natural phenomena, bizarre parks, and even sunken ships. Today, we're going on an incredible journey. Get ready to reveal the amazing secrets of our planet hidden all around the world. The curved crowns of the trees, formed by long-term gusts of wind, are impressive and awe-inspiring at the same time. It's just an incredible sight, the beauty and power of nature in one place. If we're talking about the pyramids familiar to everyone, then this is a unique miracle of nature. What about the pyramids in Dubai, the large size of which is perfectly compensated by the numbers? Traveling through the darkened trails of the forest, you can stumble upon a strange wooden hut that causes a feeling of anxiety. Now pay attention to the totem above the entrance. It seems to silently tell stories, making this corner of the forest a portal to the world of ancient mysticism. I'm sure that you've not yet encountered an animal whose horns have a perfect round shape. The sight is truly fascinating, but it remains a mystery how convenient such a unique feature is in life. Imagine that you want to enjoy solitude among nature, but suddenly you find yourself lost in a mysterious forest where every step is strewn with mysterious creatures as if they came from another world. This unexpected change of scenery instantly takes you to a whole new world of adventures. It's hard to understand how the car managed to get squeezed between two walls so closely. Now we face an even more difficult task. We need to figure out how it can be extracted from there. Am I the only one who now feels that this house is miraculously holding on to its foundation? The foundation is clearly playing with fate, creating the feeling that an unusual architectural project can collapse at any minute. Unfortunately, geckos are deprived of all the joy of splashing in the water. After all, their skin has such water-repellent properties that a bath does not bring the desired pleasure. There are more than 200 Neolithic burial sites in the Spanish province of Huelva. The most famous is the Dolmen de Soto, built in 3000 BC. The remains of Neanderthals and Cro-Magnons were found here, as well as tools of primitive people, dishes, and rock paintings. The Sahasralinga Shrine is one of the most revered places in India. It is located on the Shamala River, where figures of the god Shiva, his bull Nandi, and symbols of the fruitful power of the deity called lingams are carved from stone on the coastal rocks and in the riverbed. Moreover, the sculptures are visible only during the heat when the river is shallow. This is the cemetery of ships in the harbor of the city of Moynak in Uzbekistan. 50 years ago, it was a busy port where ships full of fish were coming every day. At that time, the Aral Sea began to become catastrophically shallow. Now you can only see rusty fishing boats in the middle of the sun-scorched desert. The bizarre Las Posas Park, created in the 60s of the 20th century by sculptor Edward James in the jungles of Mexico, stands at an altitude of more than 600 meters above sea level in the middle of a tropical forest. There are natural waterfalls, staircases that go up into the sky, and trails winding between the rocks. There is still a lot to look for such creativity. The car turned into an aquarium impresses with its originality, instantly inspiring underwater adventures. One look at the miracle car and you already want to scuba dive. This ghost ship was a luxury racing yacht called the Celt, a patrol boat during both World Wars. Thomas Edison's floating laboratory, an excursion ship in New York, and also used in Madonna's music video. It's a pity that the last owner couldn't restore it and just abandoned it. The Tianji Mountains, located in China, are part of Zhangjiajie National Park. A huge number of tourists come to admire them every year, so this park became especially popular after the release of the Avatar movies. In order to view the mountains up close, visitors can use the cable car. Yeonma Land was located in South Korea and was conceived as an ambitious amusement park, but something went wrong, and a few years later, it went bankrupt. Now only fans of extreme experiences come here to take creative photos and videos. This is the sanctuary of the ancient gods of the kingdom of Kamajin. Unfortunately, only the heads remained of the huge sculptures, but they also look very impressive. A ship that sank 500 years ago was recently discovered in Namibia. $13 million worth of gold coins were found in it. Apparently this is the Portuguese ship called Good Jesus, which went missing on its way to India. Such a two-headed turtle was born not after a nuclear disaster, but in an ordinary zoo. Apparently these are twins which were not separated at birth. They function perfectly, although they look a little strange. No, this is not an alien landscape, but the Lagoa Maranhenses National Park in Brazil. Here, the sands are interspersed with lakes in which fish, shellfish, and even crocodiles can be found. Like any dunes, they move under the influence of the wind, and reservoirs move with them. The little fish is so eager to find a way out of a difficult situation without losing hope of salvation. In October 2021, archaeologists found a beautiful amethyst seal in Jerusalem. Experts believe that one of the symbols engraved on it is persimmon, a very exquisite extinct variety. The artifact itself belonged to Cleopatra. The Valley of Pitchers is the name given to the plateau in the mountains of northern Laos because it's all dotted with huge vessels with a diameter of 1 to 3 meters carved from stone. There is a legend that they were left there by giants who brewed rice beer in them. Higher Benakal is a stone landmark in the Indian state of Karnataka. These are dolmens with round entrance openings resembling dwellings with windows. Most likely, they were funerary structures. This is an ancient Sumerian game, named after the city where it was found during excavations. Archaeologists tried to restore its rules, and apparently it consisted of moving the elements around the game field. However, we will never know if this assumption is true. The solar rooks are two full-size rowing vessels that were found in sealed caches at the foot of the Pyramid of Cheops. They were able to survive due to the fact that they were in sealed compartments made of limestone slabs. There are signs of wear and tear on the boats. Apparently, the pharaoh used them in real life. The Lycurgus cup is a vessel made of double-layered glass in which the outer layer is covered with intricate patterns. It was made in the 4th century in Rome or Alexandria and could only become an elegant example of ancient art if not for one feature. It changes color depending on the lighting or the type of liquid poured into it. When stones flickering with mysterious electric light appeared in the hands of the guys from the Congo, the video instantly became viral while turning into a real phenomenon, even though it's not surprising. Japan has broken so far into the future that every corner of its cities is a portal to a world where imagination turns into reality. Residents and visitors of the country immerse themselves in incredible creative adventures that make their heart beat in unison with the rhythm of innovation. At the turn of the 19th and 20th century, Scottish entrepreneur Harry Bannerman bought a small island on the Hudson River and built a castle there, in which he kept his weapons. But in 1918, lightning struck the roof of the arsenal. It's said that the explosion was heard even in New York. Today, there are ruins of the castle, but it is still interesting to visit them. Nature really knows how to surprise people with unusual phenomena. Sometimes one can see such ice cones on the banks of rivers and seas. They are formed from a slurry of fine-grained ice floating on the surface of the reservoir under the influence of waves and wind. No, what you're seeing now is not a UFO. This is Buzluza, the mountain on which the largest abandoned building in Europe is located, the monument house of the Bulgarian Communist Party. The building was used for about 10 years and turned out to be unnecessary after the regime change. This ship graveyard, located near the Australian island of Moreton, was created intentionally. Since 1960, several ships have been sunk here for 20 years to create a breakwater. Now the sunken ships have turned into an artificial ecosystem. People have been using various tools and means for counting since ancient times. This is evidenced by this artifact. This is the world's first pocket calculator. It was found in Kent during construction work and dates back to the 14th century. This Celtic ceremonial helmet has been This Celtic ceremonial helmet has been found in the Para cave in France. It is one of the largest works of all Gallic art. It is kept in the Angoulême Museum and dates back to about the 5th century BC. The helmet is covered with gold and was probably used only in ceremonies or was just an offering. This beautiful Scandinavian brooch was found in Sweden on the island of Gotland. Apparently it belonged to a noble family as it is richly decorated with precious stones. Such products were used to fasten clothes or even raincoats. In front of you is a giant mushroom under which you can easily hide from the rain as if under an umbrella of natural production. Its size is really amazing. I doubt that spending the night in houses hanging on the edge of a steep cliff will cost tourists a pretty penny. Without a doubt, it takes a considerable amount of courage to decide to spend the night there. Some strange creature was noticed in the water, and no one could understand its natural origin based on its unusual appearance. Who do you think it could be? Nature is able to create such incredible canvases that even paintings by famous artists fade next to them. The video on the screen is a direct proof of that. The Voynich manuscript is one of the strangest items in the Yale University Library. It's a tiny notebook with drawings of plants, recipes, and images of naked women. But the text in it is written in a language that has not yet been deciphered. Now you can admire the rarest fabric in the world. This is silk, woven by 1 million tiny spiders. This golden cape is considered to be the largest canvas ever created in this way. It took almost 3 years to make. This ancient stone, called omphalos, meaning navel of the world, was found in the Greek city of Delphi. The myth says that Zeus released 2 eagles, one to the east, the other to the west, and the birds of prey reunited right above Delphi. Then God threw a stone from the sky, thus marking the center of the world. The police had to recapture this bathtub made of a single piece of marble, which is 1800 years old, from smugglers near the city of Karakasu in western Turkey. Such a valuable thing was seized at the time of sale and delivered to the local Aphrodisias Museum. The famous geoliths of the Nazca Desert are often called takeoff sites for aliens. Judging by the fact that the temples and altars were often arranged next to such drawings, most likely they were an appeal to the gods with some kind of request. These ancient amphorae were found by soldiers of one of the units of the Odessa Territorial Defense when they were digging trenches. By order of the commander, the valuable finds were transferred to the Odessa Archaeological Museum of the National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine. Previously, the amphorae were dated to the 4th and 5th centuries BC. This semi-abandoned power plant is located in Hungary. At the beginning of the 20th century, it was the most modern and beautiful in Europe. Its design was made in the Art Deco style. Now the facility is only partially used, but you can go on an excursion to the control room and admire the architecture. This dragon's blood tree is a symbol of the Canary Islands. It got its name because of the resin released, which has a bright red color. In the Middle Ages, people believed that juice was real blood, and the tree itself was considered a mystical being, partly a plant, partly an animal. These remnants of bread are the oldest preserved pastries in Europe. It was found in Upper Saxony and dated to the pre-Roman Iron Age. The find is presented in the permanent exhibition of the Hamburg Archaeological Museum. Ruby Falls is a unique natural attraction. This is a 44-meter-high waterfall located underground in the Lookout Mountains, Tennessee. It was discovered by researcher Leo Lambert in the early 20th century and named after his wife. During excavations in the central part of Egypt, archaeologists discovered jugs of wine which are more than 5,000 years old. The find has been preserved in good condition, and the jars themselves have an impressive size. Xicheng is another ancient city founded in China around the year 621. Now it's located at the bottom of an artificial lake 40 meters deep and is available for research by archaeologists as well as diving enthusiasts. This strange object was found on a beach in Western Australia. Local residents found it and immediately reported the discovery to the police. Some people say that it is part of an Indian space rocket, but it is certainly unknown. Can it be a UFO? What do you think? Klein Caraco is a small uninhabited island in the Caribbean Sea, where the main attractions are the old lighthouse building and the wreck of the Maria Bianca ship. They contrast with the endless sea and the snow-white sand on the beach. Ponyhinge is a collection of more than 30 toy rocking horses, which has been puzzling and admiring locals and tourists of Massachusetts since 2000. There are plastic and wooden toys, both modern and vintage. Everything looks very original and unique together. In the Mexican state of Jalisco, these unusual artifacts were found in the hills of El Toro. The main feature is the images of alien creatures and their aircraft, unknown symbols, and written signs on each of them. Is it a hoax or a relic of the ancient country of Aztlan? At the top of Mount Chiato in Myanmar, there is an inexplicable artifact. It is a huge granite boulder with a pagoda built on top, located on the very edge of a small natural ledge. The stone balances against the laws of gravity, which attracts pilgrims from all over the world. These monuments are carved into the rocks in Chongqing, China, and date back to the 7th century. Most of the figures are dedicated to Buddhist and Taoist themes, including the huge sculpture called the Circle of Life. Even though nature is an unsurpassed master, sometimes its creations can surprise with their anomaly. This is a vivid example of this. Despite the strangeness, the animal does not cause disgust, but rather arouses curiosity and interest. Now in front of you is a show of extraordinary ingenuity, as if someone took and turned their fantasy inside out. It's great when ideas come to life so vividly and unconventionally. The red truck met its ridiculous fate on the road, releasing into the world of sea creatures that, coming together, create the illusion of a snake's den. The extravagant accident has turned into a show that hardly anyone wants to see a second time. In the northwestern part of France, near the city of Carnac, one can see the world's largest cluster of structures made of huge blocks of stone. There are about 3,000 of them, and some of them date back to 4,000 years BC. Scientists suggest that this is an ancient astronomical observatory. The Rosetta Stone became the key for deciphering the Egyptian hieroglyphic script. The most interesting thing is that the same decree is written on it in 3 different languages, including ancient Greek, and it was thanks to it that scientists managed to decipher other languages. Krakow is a ghost town located in the south of Italy. In 1963, an earthquake occurred here, causing many casualties and destruction. After that, people left this place and nature took over their former homes. A huge floating island occupying almost the entire surface of the lake was discovered in the swamps of Argentina using Google Maps. Its origin is unknown, so the place was immediately associated with a lot of mysterious theories. This is a valley near the Dalal volcano in northern Ethiopia. This is the hottest and most lifeless place on Earth. The hills surrounding its crater are covered with salt deposits of red, orange, yellow, and green shades, which give the landscape an amazing and fantastic look. The Larabanga Mosque is the oldest in Ghana and one of the oldest in West Africa. It was built in the Western Sudanese architectural style in 1421. The sugarloaf-shaped tower faces Mecca, and the second staircase tower is inaccessible to non-Muslims. Pumapunku, or the Puma Gate, is a ritual megalithic complex, the construction of which dates back to the 6th century. Giant granite blocks are scattered across the plateau like toys. I wonder what this place was created for. Walking along the sandy Victoria Beach and Laguna Beach in Southern California, one will find an 18-meter tower that looks like a princess from a fairy tale lives in it. It is impossible to climb it, it is privately owned, but one can admire it from the outside. In 1900, an ancient ship was discovered near the island of Antikythera in the Aegean Sea. A lot of different things were found on it, including an incomprehensible mechanism with dials and gears. It is assumed that it served to predict various astronomical events. The Chinese village of Shudavang used to be a lively fishing village. However, in the 90s of the 20th century, the port fell into disrepair, and soon the island was deserted. Now the village is absorbed by vegetation and attracts many fans of extreme recreation. On October 6, 1941, the British warship called the Thistlegorm was attacked by German bombers and sank in the Red Sea. Now it's become one of the most popular dive sites for divers from Hurghada, El Gouna, and Sharm el-Sheikh. The caves of the Thousand Buddhas in Kizil in northwestern China were carved into the rocks about 2,300 years ago. 236 cave temples are known today, and they stretch from east to west for 2 kilometers in length. The walls of the cave are painted with frescoes in different styles. High in the mountains of northern Ethiopia is the city of Lalibela, famous for its stone-carved Christian churches. The most revered of them is the Church of the Virgin Mary, the windows of which are made in the form of Roman and Greek crosses. The most unusual is the Church of St. George, carved in the form of a symmetrical cruciform tower. Chan Chan is an ancient Peruvian city located on the shores of the Pacific Ocean. People managed to find a wooden sculpture here dating back to the period of early Chimu culture of the flourishing pre-Hispanic civilization. It is very elaborately made and decorated. Under the blue water column next to the small island of Chuuk in the Pacific Ocean, one can find the largest ship graveyard in the world. It appeared during World War II when the Americans sank 60 Japanese warships and 275 aircraft. They all rest at the bottom of the lagoon. In Scotland, the Fingal Cave is located on the island of Staffa, which attracts crowds of tourists not only because its walls consist of hexagonal columns. It also makes unusual sounds that resemble singing. This grotto repeats the sound of sea waves hitting the rocky shore of the island. In Swedish Jämtland, in 2022, the first Viking mountain female burial was found, allowing the study of artifacts that were more than 1,000 years old. Archaeologists found burnt bones there and assumed that this was a cremation burial. Such a magnificent mosaic panel can be found on the floor of the Church of St. George in the Jordanian city of Madaba. This is the oldest map of the Holy Land from the Levant in the north to the Nile Delta in the south. The Trajan Trophy is a monument in the Romanian town of Adamclisi. It was built in 190 in honor of the victory of the Roman Emperor Trajan over the Dacians. The monument was located far from the main roads, so it was severely destroyed and was rediscovered only in the 19th century. There is an archaeological complex on the banks of the Apurimac River in Peru, which is considered the religious center of the followers of the cult of water. There is a Sivite stone on this territory, on top of which a detailed miniature copy of the city is carved. The waters of the Atlantic Ocean are fraught with many secrets. One of them was the Bimini Road, discovered in 1968. The discovery was made in the Bahamas. The age of the structure is at least 12,000 years, but its origin is unclear. In the Pacific Ocean, one can find the Republic of Palau, consisting of 300 islands, which are mostly uninhabited. One of them is called Isle Malk. There is a unique lake that has no analogs since millions of golden jellyfish live in it. Old Dongola is the ruins of an ancient medieval Nubian city in modern Sudan. During excavations, researchers found a whole complex with unusual paintings dedicated to Christian themes, including an image of the Virgin Mary with a book which had never been seen before. The Cliff House in Wisconsin is known for its strange rooms, gardens, and walkways. It was built in the 40s of the 20th century at the request of the American millionaire Alex Jordan. The mansion is filled with various strange things, including one of the largest collections of wooden dolls and the world's largest carousel. The Terracotta Army is an army consisting of 7,000 life-size soldiers, riflemen, horses, and wagons in full combat gear made of clay. It was created for the mausoleum of the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huangdi, and was supposed to guard it in the afterlife. Huaca, China is the only natural oasis in South America. It is located in the middle of the Peruvian desert and attracts travelers from all over the world, especially sandboarding enthusiasts. The town is located on the shores of the lake, and there are hotels, shops, and restaurants. These small wooden balls decorated inside and out with religious carvings are called prayer nuts. All of them were made around 1500 to 1530 in the Netherlands, and possibly by the same person. Their diameter reaches 5 centimeters. The Fly Geyser in Nevada is an otherworldly roadside attraction that was accidentally created by man. Geologists wanted to drill a well and had suddenly drilled a geothermal pocket. After that, this place was abandoned. At the same time, the water, enriched with various minerals and microorganisms, gradually created bizarre shapes of bright colors. The history of the magnetic compass dates back 2,400 years. It was then, even before our era, that a device indicating the directions was invented in China. It was a spoon with a thin handle made of magnetite mounted on a copper or wooden plate. After twisting it and waiting a little, the arrow will point exactly to the south. These 4 golden hats, discovered in different places in Europe and at different times, have a lot in common in design and construction. Their cone shape resembles the image of a witch's or wizard's hat. These relics are made of gold leaf and decorated with intricate patterns, but their purpose is unknown. These sculptures were discovered on the Titanic, at least that's what the authors of the pictures claim, but there is no other confirmation of this yet. Hey kid, who are you? At first glance, you seem like a scared little owl calling into the void because of your loneliness, but there is something unusual in your appearance. Can you imagine being in the mountains for the night, where a giant rock rises above your hideaway? Would you dare to meet the dawn under its mighty shadow, absorbed in the majesty and silence of nature? Just imagine, you go out into your yard and lift your head up to admire the clear sky, but instead you see a 5-meter snake elegantly moving from the roof of your house to a nearby tree. What a turnaround! Definitely the giant cactus stands out from the table decoration format with its dimensions. It will definitely be cramped on the table. It requires a lot of space. The young man amazed everyone by presenting a miniature version of the mansion in the wall of the house, made with such skill that it could well compete with the luxury of real elite residences. The frog in front of us is like an anti-stress toy from a new generation of toys. It inflates and deflates, creating the illusion of breathing. There is a wonderful charm in its ability to transform, making you forget about everything in the world when you follow such a hypnotic process. Who said that the pleasure of water slides is exclusively for people? It turns out that fish also know how to have fun, finding cool ways to spend their time efficiently and with pleasure. Do you like to walk along the seashore and listen to the waves? Now this decision will have to be weighed 7 times before setting foot on the sandy coast. Let's take a look at the magical metamorphosis show. From the bird to the butterfly and back in one magical moment. It's like witnessing a spell come to life right in front of you. Nature is an unsurpassed artist who creates works of art without brushes and canvas, enlivening the world with incredible colors. The insanely bright color palette on the screen is breathtaking, clearly demonstrating that no art supplies are required for a real miracle. Do you also like depth? It turns out that it can not only be in the night starry sky, but also under your feet. Have you guys seen such a strange and unusual animal as the octopi? This is a real gem in the fauna world, from the originality of which it is simply impossible to take your eyes off of. Everyone has their own problems and preferences, but I would rather choose to pitch a tent somewhere in warm places with green vegetation around rather than in conditions of endless cold. Wow. When nature comes into play, it knows how to surprise. One day it decided to please us with an unusual fish. As you can see, the shape is not the end. Nature decided to reach a whole new level and created a representative of the underwater world with an impressive pattern. Can you see these rocks that play with the laws of physics, floating out of the water like magic rescue buoys? This is not a fantasy, but the pure truth, seasoned with a pinch of the magic of our world. Sometimes what is found in the forest is not just amazing, but literally stunning. Who could be the inhabitant of such a miniature stone house lost among the trees? Maybe something is slipping out of our sight, or we just don't know. It seems that someone has attached an unknown mechanism to the flower, which allows it to rotate so deftly and quickly. Nature is a true master of creativity, tirelessly demonstrating exuberant imagination through constantly updating amazing forms and phenomena. Isn't that right? Comments are unnecessary in this case. Everything is so obvious that it is better to check it yourself without unnecessary words. Sometimes just one gentle touch can trigger magic, and without any magic magician's cloaks. The world around us comes to life, showing that miracles are very close. It just so happens that owners of long hair often leave behind fallen hair in a lot of places. Someone creatively rethought the problem and offered just a brilliant solution. It feels like some kind of unearthly magical power is coming out of it. What a surprise. Apparently there could be a secluded hideout of Batman himself. There's no other way. Be extremely careful when you are among wildlife because sometimes it really seems to be able to come to life in a matter of seconds. The stunningly beautiful fish is able to change its color so quickly that it seems as if some special switch is built into it. Hey guys, I advise you to not get closer. It'll be safer to enjoy the show somewhere from afar. By doing so, you can watch it and be safe at the same time. A mysterious ring not in the sky was noticed by residents of Florida back in 2018. I wonder if there might be some mysterious portal to another dimension in front of us. I will not tire of repeating the following: Mother Nature is really the best creator in the world of art. Words are useless here, look for yourself. It's not clear how a huge number of toads can fit in a small area. There is also nowhere to make a step except to jump over their heads. The fisherman caught something amazing. This is a fish that looked more like a prickly pillow for needles than an aquatic inhabitant. Besides, it can be inflated like a balloon. What a catch! The monochrome pattern of the birds makes them truly unique among the variety of domestic birds. This color scheme really attracts attention, don't you agree? Many of us cannot imagine our lives without a cup of fragrant coffee, but turning a coffee maker with coffee cups into a moving vehicle, as in the video, is already creativity on the verge of fantasy. Modern art sometimes challenges the imagination, but here is a painting made of flies. It is beyond the ordinary perception. Can you imagine such a weight? This is a living canvas where each fly brings its own special touch. How do you like this turn? It's just incredible. Fans of deep-sea diving love diving for the opportunity to come face-to-face with giant sunken ships hidden in the depths of the sea. However, admiration and a thirst for adventure should not overshadow concern for one's own safety. Skillful servings of drinks at the bar is not just a service, but a powerful marketing tool that can make the institution famous. When drinks are served accompanied by sparkling light, creating a real light show, there is definitely more desire to relax. Before us is a real mystery of nature. This is a fragile brown insect whose movements resemble the dance in a state of mild intoxication. It would be nice to understand who we are dealing with.